Social media. With me this week, Bongi Mogale. Bongi, good of you to join us again. And the big one this week, Gareth Cliff winning his case. How's that been trending? Has it been trending?
Yes, it's already trending. I think it started trending less than an hour after the ruling was made.
Okay.
So he's going to be reinstated. We've already started gathering some of the comments. Some are happy that he won the case. But there is a feeling of, well, what does this mean really? Because this all came up because it sounded like he came to the defense of Penny Sparrow.
Yeah.
But he was speaking with regards to this being a case of, people don't understand freedom of speech.
Yeah.
So some are wondering, well, does this now mean that people can say whatever they want, be as offensive as it suits them, and then if you take offense that perhaps something is really racist, you can just say, well, it's freedom of speech, refer to that Gareth Cliff case if you're not sure.
How does this relate to sort of checks and balances with social media? Because you have to be careful of what you say in terms of your brand and your image. You can't just put anything out there, but it's like people forget that social media is available to anybody. Anybody can see, read, repost what you say.
This, I think, is where now it does become, you need to be kind of careful though. You might say that it's where we need to have a bit of regulation and a bit of rules, but you can't really, because when people are walking around on the street, you must consider social media to be the cyber streets. Are you not going to say to people, well, you can't say certain things? People are going to be like, well, I want to say certain things. It's a free country. So I don't know.
That's where this issue of freedom of speech.
Yes, this is where now it does come in. That I don't think it's finished, really. I think Mnet might probably still have something to say about this. They might perhaps decide that they'd like to appeal this, because they're like, well, our brand is being tainted because he's poisoning it. And you must also wonder, when he goes back and he has to face Somizi and Unati, when he was saying, but they've said stuff and nothing happened to them, how's the working relationship going to be between the two of them? You know, I mean, these sorts of things were already coming out. This was the argument I was making earlier on in the week when the arguments were being made in court. That there was stuff, my two colleagues also said some things, but you all had nothing to say about them, and that did not have any comeuppance for them. But for me, there is this. So. And
reading this, Idols was going to be boring without Gareth Cliff. Somizi at some stage will bore us to death. So that's another thing. How are people going to react to Gareth Cliff coming back?
Yes. How are they going to react? And I'm still waiting with regards to this for Dalim to start trending, because when Gareth Cliff was trending, he represented Gareth Cliff, and the EFF said, no, definitely Gareth Cliff is being racist. So it's still going to happen. So also you won and you fought on behalf of someone that we consider to have made racist remarks. I don't think this is going away now or anytime soon.
All right, so another big story this week was the interest rate hike that the Reserve Bank announced yesterday.
More like the interest rate shock. Okay, we knew that they were going to hike, but obviously it has not been very, very well received. People are like, oh, now there goes the budget. I know for myself, it's going to have quite an impact. We ran a poll, just a snap poll on our Twitter account, and we were asking people, well, how is this going to affect your budget? Most of the people that we polled, about 41%, but the poll is not finished yet, they were like, you know what, I'm going to drown in debt. Which is something that is frightening. If you think about things like, let's say for this is for things like that you owe your debts, but you still have to buy things like food, petrol, paying off of the school fees, general living expenses. I don't think it's going to be the most pleasant of years. The MPC having to do this, and with the suspicion being that there's going to be more rate hikes to come. I think 2016 is going to be the year of lean living. Yeah,
and it raises the question of financial literacy for the country, and issues like spending and versus saving. So a lot of other issues come out of something like this.
Yes, definitely.
All right, another trending topic was the announcement by the Utukela municipality in KwaZulu-Natal of that maiden bursary that was awarded to that to the young woman.
Yes, the maiden bursary.
Okay, tell us more about this.
The maiden bursary. Basically, the municipality announced that they were going to award 16 bursaries to maidens, virgins, and young ladies who would maintain their virginity. This is how they'd be able to keep their bursaries. Twitter became lit. Some people were saying, well, it's a good idea, because kids need to be focusing on their education, not thinking about things like having sex. But at the same time, why would your education be linked to whether or not you're having sex with anybody, and it doesn't address the issue of the boys, because you don't like lose your virginity just by yourself. So we'd have to wonder what is the reciprocal bursary that involves the boys. And obviously, on a more serious note, we do have a very, very serious rape epidemic in this country. So many girls lose their virginity not by choice. So what does it mean for them? I mean, tied to this, which is a bit of an aside, that just brought to the fore the gender issues going on in the Twitter sphere, was Eritrea. There was a tweet that went out, or a report, that the Eritrean government had basically said, no, the men in Eritrea must be polygamists. Because I think there was like a shortage of men or something and too many single women. So you would be fined or whatever if you didn't marry more than one wife. Turned out to be a hoax. That was a joke. But this bursary is not a joke, and the gender issues that it raises are no laughing matter either.
Okay, and then looking also at something that's been going on in the sport, the cricketing news, that the former Protea player Golam Bodi has been banned for 20 years. Banned for 20 years for match fixing.
Users welcomed, because for sports fans, you actually want to think that you're looking at the actual ability of people. But now you're sort of wondering, am I looking at a choreographed effort? What is it that I'm seeing here? So people have welcomed this thing, and they were like, it was quite swift from when we heard that he was the one who had been involved in the match fixing to cricketers saying, well, he's been banned. And obviously then the jokes start with some saying things such as, well, now the only cricket he'll be able to play is his backyard cricket, perhaps with his mates. But I think that it shows that we are kind of taking this thing seriously. If you're interested in sports, if you're a fan, you want to know that what you're watching is the real deal and not just some lie, basically.
Bongi Mogale from SABC's Digital News, thank you very much for coming in.